Hello everyone, my name is JL Aviation and welcome back to another airplane model collection video. This time I'm featuring another Gemini Jets model in my collection. Now I'm not unboxing it for the first time on this one. This is a model that I've had for a couple months already, and I originally ordered it before Spirit Airlines shut down. That's when I initially got it. So I'm glad I was able to get it on time because this is a model that I've been trying to get for a while. This is the original Spirit Airlines Greyscale livery Airbus A319, one of those classic 2000s era Gemini Jets releases, which I love very much if you've watched a lot of my model unboxing and review videos on this channel. So I'm going to go ahead and get into a little bit of detail of this model, show it a little bit closer, and of course talk a little bit about why I think it's so special that I was finally able to get it. So first, just a quick look at the box. Now, similarly to the other Spirit Airlines release that they had for the blue colorful livery, also known as the Skittles livery, this box is kind of more generic than your typical Gemini Jets box. It doesn't have the plane in the middle, and it doesn't have the story of the Airbus aircraft and everything. It's only got the 3D rendering of the plane on the side. It's got your model description and everything, and then in the back it's also got Spirit Airlines. Then under here, not sure what IT Jets it's. Maybe it was a partner of Gemini Jets back in the day that used to distribute their models as well. Maybe they did it with that partnership. Maybe that's why the box doesn't have the typical Gemini Jets design. But yeah, this was a 2007 release, so probably one of the first, if not the first, Gemini Jets releaser was of Spirit Airlines back when they were kind of growing in that era of the 2000s. Now looking back almost 20 years ago, now that they are a thing of the past. But there's their box, and I did buy it off of eBay secondhand. It was the only way I could. A lot of these go for a lot, but I was able to find one that I thought was a good price compared to what most of them were, and I'm glad I finally have it in my collection. So now let's take a look at this beautiful Greyscale livery. So I'm just gonna hold it in view here. So as you can see, it's not as detailed as some of the more modern Gemini Jets releases that have all the antennas and everything, but it's still, I think even though these models in this era of Gemini Jets were less detailed, I still think they did a lot of great things with the paint, with the molds. I think they're very sturdy. A lot of the new ones are they tend to be more fragile. A lot of their smaller parts can start shifting or moving easier, so I do like how these are built. I'll put it in the box here so you can see it still for a bit. In the very front, next to the cockpit, it has got the Airbus A319 titles, if you can see them, right next to the front door. And then that's where the livery kind of starts. It's this all gray fuselage, and it's got the black squares that kind of fade into the rest of the livery with that red box on the S and the Spirit titles. So you can see it's very different from the next two liveries they had. They really shifted a lot with their image, unlike other airlines that just kind of keep the same logo over time and just modernize their image. Spirit just had some very drastic changes, and this livery still existed well until the time that they introduced the yellow livery. So a lot of people were still nostalgic for this one even after many livery changes, and we're pretty big fans of it as well, given how unique the patterns are. Pattern also repeats on the tail, as you can see, and then the registration of this aircraft is November 506 November Kilo. Now this aircraft flew for Spirit all the way to 2023. It got repainted to the Skittles livery and then to the yellow livery, but then in 2024 it was delivered to Qantas Link in Australia, where it still does fly today. Now the other side is a bit of the same thing, but as you can see closely on the engines, it does have the spiritair.com. Back in the day, airline websites were also becoming much more popular. A lot of low-cost airlines used to promote them as well, so you started seeing them in their liveries. And then below you of course got the Gemini Jets titles right here with the stand. That's where it normally goes. There is a bit of a dent in there, but it doesn't really matter to me. because it's kind of the part that you don't normally see. I prefer just, showcasing the model like this. I have other ones that are in a pair of stands that I have already, but this one looks nice on the shelf next to the other Spirit model that I have, which is the Skittles livery, which I'll also bring out to do a bit of a quick comparison. Here is the Skittles livery Spirit aircraft, which is registered November 502 November Kilo. So as you can see, like I mentioned, very drastic livery change I went to. This is my personal favorite of the Spirit liveries, I would say, because I think it's the one I saw most often growing up before they switched to the yellow livery. But I do understand why most people have the Greyscale as their favorite, and honestly, yeah, I love it as well. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the yellow livery, but at least it was pretty unique, I will give them that. And it became pretty iconic before they went under this past year. Spirit as an airline didn't have the best reputation service-wise, of course, but they were a really big pioneer for this brand new low-cost market, and they brought cheaper ways to fly, to get around, to go places which really is the most important part of commercial aviation. And the airline had a huge presence everywhere in the country. So yeah, it's pretty sad to see them go, and of course not being able to see even some of these planes that are still painted in the older liveries still flying like some of them had. Now, I have flown Spirit only a few times before they went under, and I never really had a bad experience with them. Let me know if any of you have flown on them, and especially if you got to fly on one of their older aircraft, one of their Greyscale livery aircraft, or even if you got to fly on them way back, maybe 10, 15, even 20 years ago, when they were still starting up, kind of becoming ultra low cost like we knew them today. Of course, it was a very different experience back then when they were starting up, especially considering how huge they were in Fort Lauderdale, which had always been their base airport, but especially back in the day when most of their flights would come and go from FLL. It kind of really left a huge gap on that airport. But that's been it for this short model showcase that I wanted to make. Let me know if you do have one of these in your collection as well, or if you're also a big fan of the livery just like I am. And thank you all very much for watching. My name is JL Aviation. I'll see you all in my next video. I'll be posting some more new flight reviews, new airline videos, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And hope to see you on another model review as well soon. Have a good one wherever you're watching from.